brought that to everybody.
The old way. Okay, well, you give the thumbs up when we're ready. Oh, there's a section.
It's to promote our classes, I'm not sure.
I think it's to convince everyone they need to cut
Everyone, we
education.
good?
Yeah.
Everyone on the left, we're good?
We're good?
We're good. Everybody good?
Okay,
I do wonder.
we're good.
Yeah, optics.
All right, the May 12th, 2026 School Board Regular Meeting is called to order. Ms. Tresky, please call the roll.
Mr. Cherry,
Here.
Mr. Link,
Here.
Dr. Jamison,
Here.
Ms. Quintana,
Here.
Ms. Trigg,
Here.
Mrs. Watkins,
Here.
Mrs. Apow.
Here. Thank you to all of those attending the meeting in person, full house tonight, and those that are joining us via the RCPS YouTube channel. And thank you, I believe I saw the mayor join us this evening as well. Thank you for coming. Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Cherry.
Second.
No. So I move.
Moved by Mr. Cherry. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Quintana. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. And the motion carries. The agenda is approved. Please keep the following in your thoughts. Family and friends of M.K. Bishop, Supervisor of Early Learning, on the passing of her grandmother. Family, friends, and coworkers of Ms. Shelley Braby, Special Education Instructional Assistant at Highland Park, on her passing. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Please rise and join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. On to recognitions. We are about to begin a series of special recognitions. When we do recognitions, Mr. Chris Perkins will adjust the ropes here at the front next to the podium to allow easy access. When your name is called, please start to your left, proceed forward, and you will be able to greet the board members with a handshake. Afterward, you will be guided to the side of the cafeteria for photos with Ms. Mitzel. We'll begin with resolutions this evening. Now, without objection, I would like to reorder the recognition portion of our agenda. We will move the resolutions presented by Delegate Rasool to the final item of the recognition portion of the agenda to accommodate his arrival time. We will begin instead with student representatives. Is there any objection? Hearing none, we will proceed with the meeting. On to the school board representatives. On behalf of the school board, I want to sincerely thank John Lopez Ortiz and Stephen Wade for their service this year. You've represented Patrick Henry and William Fleming High Schools and all of our students with distinction. When the school board created this role in 2022, we made a commitment that student voices would have a real seat at this table. At this time, I'd like to recognize my fellow trustees, Ms. Quintana and Ms. Trigg. Thank you very much for working with our representatives and ensuring they had a trusted liaison to help them become acclimated on the board and to thrive throughout this past year. So I will turn it over to you all, Ms. Quintana and Ms. Trigg. Would you all like to say a few words? Ms. Quintana?
First of all, good evening. This is the first year that Ms. Trigg and myself are the, I guess, head spearing the student representative, and it has been a great experience. I hope it was a great experience for you. It was great to get to know this young man and see all their goals and dreams that they have for the future, and I cannot wait for them to come back and tell us all they have achieved. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Quintana. And Ms. Trigg?
Hello, everyone. Definitely want to congratulate our student reps as they're moving forward, both attending colleges. We would definitely want to give you a token of our love and appreciation and hope that this can carry you out through your times when it gets a little tough. So I'm going to read you what we have for our college survival kit. You'll have a Band-Aid for when life gets a little tough, chocolate kisses to remind you that you are loved, eraser, it's okay to make mistakes, just don't give up. Gum, stick to your goals. Kit Kat, breaks are always good to take. And that sometimes is the hardest one that us adults don't follow, so definitely learn to do that now. Marker, leave a good mark wherever you go. Peanuts, some days will be nuts, but tomorrow is a new day. Pencil, list your blessings every day. Penny, for good luck wherever you go in life. Post-it notes, to help you remember what's important. Rubber bands, stretch your mind and be flexible. Smarties, be smart and work hard. And I also like to add work smarter, not harder. Snickers, laughter is the best medicine. And Starburst, always remember to reach for the stars, and congratulations. John Ortiz, will you join us?
John, go ahead and come on around so you, no, around the front so you can shake all of our hands.
Congratulations, you walk.
Okay. Congratulations, and there's a whole bunch of stuff for you.
Everything I read is in that
This.
box.
Want me to just pass that
And yes, to the spot, and then.
Yeah, we can just pass it down, yes.
Down, and you can complete. Thank you.
Congratulations, thank you. We appreciate you. Wait a minute. I can't reach you.
Thank you, Ms. Trigg. Thank you. It's been a pleasure having you.
Congratulations.
We look forward to welcoming our newest student representatives beginning July 1st, and we are grateful this tradition continues to grow. On to the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. Dr. White, please introduce your Student Advisory Council.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, everyone. When I created my Student Advisory Council in 2022, it came from a belief that people closest to the experience should have a seat at the table, which is why I also have meetings with our Roanoke Education Association, as well as the Teacher Advisory Council and Business Advisory Council, because I believe that perspectives matter. And so this has been really wonderful to continue with our Student Advisory Council so that our students can continue to tell us what's working well and what's not working so well. And trust me, if you ever want to know, get some candid and honest feedback, ask our students, because they will tell you exactly the way that it is. And so I just value their opinions and their feedback, because Roanoke City Public Schools, we're not just one story, right? We're made up of several stories, and our students have diverse experiences and backgrounds, and they share their experiences with me, and I just love working with them and getting their advice and their opinions. Their feedback has given us really valuable insights and has resulted also in real change. A few years ago, the students on my Students Advisory Council clearly told us that they wanted us to focus on mental health services and to take the stigma out of mental health services. And therefore, we were then able to launch Hazel Health at no cost to our students as well. Again, that type of feedback has driven real and resulted in real change for the organization. This year, the students walked into our meetings and talked about artificial intelligence, such as the guardrails schools need to have in place, the safety questions that we should be wrestling with right now. They talked about teacher pay and what it means to have educators who feel valued and who stay, and the importance of our teachers staying in place. And so when you look at what's reflected, for instance, in this year's budget, it has student voice as part of that process. So I just want to, again, just say thank you to our students for sitting across from me, standing with me and with our team. And what you'll find, our students are thoughtful, they're kind, they're conscientious, they're smart, they're witty, they're fun, they're committed young people. They care about their country, they care about their community, they care about the environment, and they also care about each other. And I'm so, so proud of them. They're working really, really hard, and it's a pleasure to acknowledge them. So thank you to all of the students who served this year, whom I call my babies. They know that they're not babies, and I know that they're not babies, but and I know for the parents who are here, they are your babies, but they're also our babies too. And so for those who are returning, I look forward to continuing to work with you, and to our graduating seniors. I look forward to shaking your hand on June 5th. So with that, we're going to start with the recognition. So let's get started with the list. Okay. All right, so when I call your name, feel free to come on up, and so that the school board can shake your hand. All right, first, we're going to start with Jarvis Ivory and Allison Wong from James Breckenridge Middle School. That's all right, come on around.
It's a blockade.
Right around this way. You can start at that end.
Right here.
Come on around, thank you. Next,
Thanks for serving.
we have Elise Abner from John P. Fishwick Middle School. Thank you for everything. That's for you, and that's for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything. Appreciate you.
Thank you for the input.
From James Madison Middle School, we have Tamara Lewis Brown. All right. From Lucy Addison Middle School, we have Shariah Perry. From Woodrow Wilson Middle School, we have Elizabeth Bryant and Tucker Coetzee. We also have Sanai Razuli, Hannah Turnbull, very good.
Thank you.
There, that's for you. And Elia Gray Strawn. Thank you for everything. I appreciate you. That is for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. Wait a minute, we might be out of order. All right,
Thank you so much.
where are you?
You, Hannah?
Yeah, I got you. There you go, that's for you. Very good.
Thank you, Hannah.
Which one?
Sorry,
This
I
one?
forgot you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, thank
There you go. Good to see you. Thank you for everything. That's for you too.
You will have to switch hands.
Do we have Tucker and Sine? Okay. All right, from Daytech and Roadtech, we have Richard Akers and Malia Brown.
It's not here. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Very good.
Thank you for your feedback. That's a nice firm handshake. Good job.
Thank you for everything. We have Jaden Robinson. Jaden here. Denasia Rosser. Is Denasia here? Yes. Amelia Delaro. Amelia here. Of course, Stephen Wade also. We give him a hand. All right. Very good. Let's moving on from Forest Park Academy. We have Destin Harrison. Is Destin here? Also, Kylie Batson couldn't be here, but we want to acknowledge Kylie. From the Governor's School, we have Lawson Fralin and Aaron Thompson. We want to give them a hand. I know that they were unable to be here. Oh, very good. We have Aaron Thompson. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Aaron Thompson. It's coming. From Noel C. Taylor, we also have Shamika Alexander. And- Very good. Woo. Thank you for being on my advisory council. We also have Tanaya Clements. Thank you for being on my advisory council. We also have Alexandria Ray. And Ladarian Graham. We have Alexandria Ray. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's for you. They'll meet you right down. Let's come down to the end, and they'll meet you right there. All right, from Patrick Henry High School, we have Adler Alls.
Congratulations. Thanks for doing it.
Alexandria.
Thank you.
Ray.
We also have Sabnam Bania. We also have Devanshi Shahardri. Thank you. We have Lila Cork. Lila here. Archer Eads. Is Archer here? We have Phoenix Finney. We know that this is athletic season, so there are a lot of conflicts. That's okay. We want to give Noah Johnstone a hand, being on the advisory council. Samuel Kamara. Samuel's coming. Oh, very good. Thank you. John Lopez Ortiz. Come on around, John.
Come on back around. Thank you so much.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have Adriana Mack. We have Jocelyn Maroking. Thank you for being on the advisory council. Zanari Page, also thank you for being on the advisory council. Adriana Rivera. Harper Rouse. Thank you, Harper. Arnez Starkey. Arnez. All right. Shamsi Chishi Banji. All right. What about Giselle Arias? Is Giselle here? All right, very good. And then from William Fleming High School, Ian Siopa. Thank you, Ian. And I think is there anyone else here who's on the advisory council whom we did not call your name and you were not recognized? All right, did we get everyone? Let's give all of our student advisory council members a big round of applause. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. White. Next, we have the 2025 Winter Fine Arts recognitions. Mrs. Whit,
Sorry,
Ms. Trigg needs it.
just one thing, where John is going.
oh, yes, pause, back to Ms. Trigg.
I'm sorry, I wanted to let you all know that John Ortiz is going to William and Mary in the fall.
Yeah. Congratulations. Go Tribe.
Congratulations. Stephen Wade will be attending Virginia Western Community College and then transferring into Virginia Commonwealth University.
And before we go too far, I also wanted to make sure that you see Ms. Mitzel standing in the corner. If you were just recognized, if you could please take your certificates on over to Ms. Mitzel, and she's going to make sure to memorialize the moment. So thank you for being part of our Student Advisory Council this year.
Yes.
All right. Next, we have the 2025 Winter Fine Arts recognitions. Mrs. Whitney Johnson. Now, can you come forward to introduce the recipients? Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Cherry, Superintendent White, and members of the school board. It is a distinct honor to stand before you tonight to celebrate the championship season of our fine arts programs. And I genuinely just want to say thank you to our board for the support for the arts. We feel it each and every day, so thank you. Throughout the months of March and April, our secondary music ensembles participated in rigorous state-mandated assessments. These evaluations are the culmination of months of disciplined practice, and the results we are sharing tonight speak volumes about the caliber of talent and instruction within Roanoke City Public Schools. We first want to acknowledge William Fleming. I do want to say that our band director and orchestra director both have concerts this evening, so they are at William Fleming this evening with students, but we're going to honor them nonetheless and make sure that they get their awards. But starting with Fleming, I am thrilled to report that the symphonic band, under the direction of Mr. William Satterwhite, earned an overall superior rating at the VBODA District 6 assessment. I would like to extend a special thank you to Mr. Satterwhite and the Fleming administration, as they successfully hosted 29 visiting bands for this massive regional event. 29 bands, yeah. And we will also celebrate the William Fleming Orchestra by director Yi Win Evans for her excellent rating of the 2026 All Virginia Band and Orchestra Directors Association at VBODA in Lynchburg on March 11th, 2026. So we will make sure that Yi Win and Will both get their awards. But as we continue to celebrate Fleming, I would like to congratulate Miss Hannah Herview, and please invite her up. Ms. Herview is the choir director and very popular. Ms. Herview is William Fleming's chamber and concert choir, and I'm so excited to say that they traveled to Radford University and returned with a unanimous superior rating, the highest possible marks in the Commonwealth.
I don't have enough hands for your awards. That's a good problem, Cap. You want to?
Congratulations.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you. Thank you very much. Congrats.
Congrats.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Let's hear it for the arts for Fleming. And I feel like I have to acknowledge theater as well. William Fleming did an incredible production of Mean Girls this spring too. And I see some Mean Girl audience members that were in the show. They may be outside taking pictures that were on the advisory council. Now let's go to Patrick Henry School Successes in the Arts. The success continues at PH, where the Wind Symphony, conducted by Mr. Alex Schmidt, earned a superior rating at the district assessment. Most notably, this performance qualified the ensemble for the prestigious Virginia Honor Band Award. This is only the 5th time in school history that the program has achieved this elite status. Mr. Schmidt, if you could please join us. See him standing there.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would like to please call Mr. Jeff Midkiff to the podium. Patrick Henry continues to excel with Mr. Jeff Midkiff leading both the Patrick Henry High School Chamber and Concert Orchestra, which also received superior highest ratings at the VBODA event, Orchestra Directors Association in Lynchburg on March 11th, 2026.
Well done, and I have 2 awards for you also.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
And if I could please invite Mr. Brandon Mock, the Patrick Henry Choir Director. Patrick Henry Chamber Choir earned a superior rating, while the women's and men's choirs earned both excellent ratings for their performances at Radford University. But hold on, because I'm still going to talk about you. But while our ensemble is shown as a whole, we have 2 individual students who reached the pinnacle of state-level achievement in choir. Archer Eads, who is at a baseball game right now, and Charlotte Halley, who is also involved in a spring sport, were selected for the All-Virginia Choir after earning the highest scores in our entire district for their respective vocal parts. They represented Roanoke City Public Schools with pride in Richmond this past April, proving that our students are among the very best vocalists in Virginia. And our women's and men's choir, again, excellent ratings for their performance at Radford University.
I have all of this for you too. So, do you want to? Yeah. Do you want to shake? Do you want to shake hands? We could. Okay. Back. Yeah,
Congratulations. Hi.
giant stack. Good problems to have.
Oh, there we are.
Might need a hand truck, yeah.
I know.
These accolades are more than just ratings. They represent the dedication, teamwork, and high academic standards our directors and students maintain each and every day in the arts. Whether through hosting regional events or qualifying for state-level honors, these programs continue to serve as ambassadors of excellence for our division. Thank you. Thank you for your unwavering support of the arts in our schools, which provides the foundation for these incredible achievements. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson. And again, could all of our recognitions for the arts, for the Winter Fine Arts, please find Ms. Mitzel in the corner and she will make sure to get your photo. Next, we have the support staff, the 2026 Support Staff of the Year recognition. Mr. John Michael Deeds or Ms. Bailey, can you come forward to introduce the recipient?
Absolutely. Good evening, Chair Apel, Vice Chair Mr. Cherry, members of the board, Dr. White, city representatives, and everyone watching. The Virginia Department of Education participates in a national recognizing inspirational school employees called RISE Award, a program established by Congress in 2019 to honor classified school employees who demonstrate exceptional commitment to supporting high-quality PK through 12 education. The award highlights individuals whose work strengthens school communities, uplifts students, and exemplifies excellence in service. Nominees for the RISE Award are evaluated using criteria established by the U.S. Department of Education, which include demonstrating outstanding work performance that supports student learning and school operations, contributing meaningfully to school and community involvement, exhibiting strong leadership and commitment in their role, earning local support from colleagues, administrators, families, and community members, and enhancing the public image of classified school employees through professionalism and dedication. On Thursday, April 30th, during the annual Support Staff of the Year celebration at the Hotel Roanoke and Conference Center, Mrs. Joanne Hamidullah was named Roanoke City Public Schools Support Staff of the Year and selected as the division's nominee for the Virginia Department of Education's RISE Award. Mrs. Hamidullah, would you like to join me? All right, so Mrs. Hamidullah, known affectionately as Miss H, is a special education instructional assistant at Hurt Park Elementary School, where she works in Mrs. Tiffany Austin's self-contained classroom. She leads small group instruction, provides individualized behavioral support, and plays a vital role in creating a structured, nurturing learning environment. Judges noted her as remarkable and noted her ability to make a positive, lasting impact on both students and staff. A dedicated RCPS graduate herself, Mrs. Hamidullah has served as an instructional assistant for 14 years across 2 schools. Her nominators emphasized that while her students may require additional time and support, Ms. H never lowers her expectations. She brings out the best in every child. Her sharp wit uplifts her colleagues, even on the most challenging days. As one nominator wrote, she is the person who steps in before anyone asks, the person who sees what needs to be done and does it, and the person who consistently places students at the center of every decision and action. We'd like to play a short video clip honoring you, and then we'll let you shake hands. Are you good?
When I first started, I was a sub for Roanoke City Schools, so I did long-term subbing. One of the principals at one of the schools called and asked me would I consider taking a permanent position. And that's how I got at Lincoln Terrace for 7 years, and I've been here for about 7 years. Okay, now we're gonna work on our oral for Roman. We're gonna work on the R. I'm an instructional assistant in the special ed department, and that means the kids are special needs. And so it may be a variety of diagnoses that they have, and we have to program their treatment according to what, what they have or what their needs are. We each have a table and we each do different things. Like I'm doing the writing part. Good job, Roman. Go around and down. Some of them come to you and they don't know how to write and they don't know how to write their names and stuff. So you start on that, and then once they learn one letter, teach them one letter at a time, and they master that, and you move on to another one. And to see them for the first time master that one letter, it's very amazing. All I do is come to work and try to do what I can for the kids to be treated like I would want somebody to treat my child. That's all I do. And so I guess somebody saw that. Take your time, slow down. We're not in a race. I'm not out for the titles and stuff. I'm just out just to make a difference. What do you say? You're welcome, sweetie. Good job today, okay?
In recognition of her achievement, Mrs. Hamidullah received a $1,000 award from Train, the Support Staff of the Year sponsor. Additional sponsors included Pinnacle Financial Partners for the second place sponsor and ESS as the third place sponsor. Mrs. Hamidullah, the school board is proud of you and all of our support staff members. Congratulations and thank you for all you do.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Ms. Bailey, should Ms. H also go with Ms. Mitzel for another photo?
Is that okay
You've
with
got
you,
a
Mrs.
lot of
H?
photos, Ms. H.
She's got some spunk.
And Ms. H, did she want to say anything, or did you want to say anything?
But I appreciate everything that everybody has done and did for me. I'm so honored and so humbled by this. Thank you.
Thank you. And now on to Delegate Rasool with some resolutions. If you could please come forward and present your resolutions. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Pleasure to be with you all, serving double duty. My daughter's on the soccer field over here. Game's just ending, so I'm like darting over here, acting like I'm looking professional for a moment. It's a 2-2 game. What's gonna happen? You know, it's against Salem too, so it's like, no disrespect, Dr. Siebert. It is a pleasure to be with you all. We have two resolutions that we passed in the General Assembly to honor two individuals in particular. First, I'm going to ask Lou Bishop to come up with me, celebrating the life of Dr. Rita Bishop. This was passed right at the end of session, and we'll have a full-size presentation copy that we're going to hand deliver to Lou here shortly. You know, Dr. Bishop, I think that we've been fortunate as far as Roanoke City Schools are concerned that we've been sent superintendents for the time. And there was a time some years ago where roughly a third of our students weren't graduating on time, and Dr. Bishop came in and brought some structure and direction where some was needed. Was able to not only do that, but also instill a sense of pride in being able to invest in things like the arts and music. I remember the first concert that we had here in Roanoke City with some of the wonderful new programs and instruments that she brought forward. Life is coming full circle, as I have two daughters of Patrick Henry, both in the band, able to check out some of those instruments and participate, as well as many other individuals. The General Assembly and the House of Delegates in particular passed House Resolution 209, celebrating the life of Dr. Rita Bishop. We are actually approximately on the 1-year mark of her passing. And for someone who put 50 years into public education, we are certainly honored to have her 15 years that she gave to Roanoke City Public Schools, and to get us to a place where in the middle of a pandemic, we were able to have a successful transition, and now we continue to thrive in many ways. So there are a lot of accolades. I won't read through all of it, but I will say, as an individual who cared very deeply and very strongly about her service to the wonderful and beautiful students here in Roanoke City Public Schools, that the House of Delegates do hereby pass House Resolution 209, And it's with great sadness that we commemorate the loss of Dr. Rita Bishop, a revered member of the Roanoke community whose kindness and generosity touched countless lives wherever she would be. And now I'd like to welcome my friend Lou Bishop to say a word.
She wouldn't want me to say this, but it was 54 years of education. Rita accomplished a tremendous amount in that 54 years, and particularly here in Roanoke City. But what a thrill for me to sit here this evening and see the wonderful work that Dr. White, you have done, and the board that you have done. And I just think it's fantastic that Roanoke City can be very proud of the Roanoke City Public Schools and the leadership that you all have provided. So thank you very much.
And now we are excited to be able to commemorate the Roanoke City Public Schools Teacher of the Year. We are asking our schools to do so much more than just teach our children. We throw almost every one of society's ailments at our schools, and our teachers have to deal with so much. Many of you have heard of some of my tales of substitute teaching here and there. And I will tell you one place that I am afraid of, and that is middle school. There is predictability in how the high schoolers will act. They will act and they will act up, and you shaking your head, you know what I'm talking about? There is no predictability in middle school, and there's a special place in heaven. I would like to invite Ms. Mans to come on up to receive this resolution. So the General Assembly passed House Joint Resolution 224 commending your, it's a public service. They should allow you to board the airlines early, just like every one of the veterans. James Breckenridge Middle School, I believe for 11 years, so that you've worked in so many different ways to be able to invest in children who are finding their way. I know I was busy trying to find my way in middle school. I certainly was acting up a bit. And we appreciate your investment, especially in a region and a school division that certainly is able to try to conquer so many challenges in different ways. We really can never say enough thank you to you. I could do a day here and there, but to do it day in and day out, you are really on the front lines. And so with House Joint Resolution 224, we are commending, and there are a whole host of accolades in here, but commending her unwavering commitment to her students and to the well-being of the community she serves. Casey Mans has embodied the ideals of the education profession, earning the praise and admirations of Virginians, and certainly of the greater Roanoke Valley. And so the 2026 House of Delegates, and we even got the Senate to concur to this. Wow. We even got the Senate to do some work. Hereby commend you on being named Teacher of the Year in Roanoke City Public Schools for the 25-26 school year. Congratulations, and thank you so much for all of the wonderful work. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Thank you so much, Delegate Rasool. Thank you very much for being here. And I'm sure Ms. Mitzel would love to get pictures with both Delegate Rasool and the recipients, those who accepted the resolutions. Ms. Mitzel, yeah, over to the side. Okay. So on to the personnel list. Is there a motion and a second to approve the personnel list as presented?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Jameson, seconded by Ms. Watkins. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. And the personnel list is approved. On to citizen participation on agenda and non-agenda items. Mr. Cherry, do we have any signups for agenda or non-agenda items this evening?
Yes, we have 3 that are signed up, and before we call your name, I will read this. School board values open communication, and we look forward to receiving your comments. We encourage all participants to engage in civil discourse and ask that you keep your comments respectful in helping us achieve this goal. To ensure regular opportunities to address the board are available and that the board has time to conduct its business, up to 30 minutes is allowed for public comment at a regular board meeting. Citizen comments offer an opportunity for the public to inform the board. The board and superintendent generally do not respond to comments made or questions posed. All individuals are urged to provide written copies of their comments or other material supporting their views to the clerk of the board, who will ensure dissemination to board members. Staff present at the board meeting and whenever possible will assist you with your inquiry. Please state your name for the record and state whether you reside in Roanoke City or not. We do ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. Speakers may not cede their time to another individual. There is a light at the center of the podium. That light will turn yellow when you have about 1 minute left. All right, the first speaker we have is Miss Susie Shedd, Miss Roanoke Valley, 2026. Good evening, and congratulations to you as well.
Hello. Good evening, distinguished members of the Roanoke City School Board. My name is Susanna Shedd, and I am the current Miss Roanoke Valley, and I am here to advocate for a medical health professions class to be added to this school system. And I do not reside in Roanoke, just to clarify. As many of you know, we are facing an epidemic like no other. Experts predict a global healthcare workforce shortage by 10 million by 2030. In the U.S. alone, 1 million nurses are needed to close the current health workforce gaps. The Association of American Medical Colleges projects a total national shortage of up to 86,000 physicians by 2036, 40,000 of them being primary care physicians. The Health Resources and Services Administration projects an increased total shortage of 124 to 187,000 physicians within the next 10 years. Without enough physicians in these critical fields, communities all over the country are struggling to receive basic, preventive, acute, and affordable care. And most of these communities are rural communities that get affected by these shortages. As a local title holder, I work closely with the public school system and have created an educational curriculum specifically geared towards elementary students to empower them to pursue a career in medicine. I also educate them on the 26 different healthcare careers through reading Healthcare Heroes by Courtney Booth. However, in our middle and high schools, our students are ready to comprehend more of the healthcare field. There are over 200 medical career options, and with the continued downward trend of healthcare workforce, we need students more than ever to pursue a career in medicine. Many school systems, such as the Roanoke City School Board, have wonderful programs such as CNA licensure or EMT certifications. But this elective course would specifically be geared towards teaching students about all medical career options, not just a licensure. The goal would be taking career options and splitting them into similar categories as the units, and then instead of traditional tests and quizzes, students would be encouraged to volunteer and/or shadow medical professionals in those fields. Thank you for listening to my request today, and I hope you'll consider adding a class such as this to Roanoke City Schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I do mispronounce your name, I apologize, and you can correct me so I can get it right. The next speaker we have is Reagan Corpening.
Good evening, members of the school board, superintendent, and student representatives. My name is Reagan Corpening, and I'm an 11th grade student at William Fleming High School, and today I'm here to talk to you about the things that have been changing in my school, and I do reside in Roanoke.
I was informed last week about one of my teachers being moved into a position that required him to step down as a drama teacher and instead focus on English literature at both Fleming and Patrick Henry High School. I was also informed about the same thing happening with Patrick Henry's drama teacher and how he will be the new theater teacher for both schools. I, as a student who has done theater for my whole high school career, think that this arrangement is unfair for both teachers and the students who participate in this extracurricular program. Not only does it limit the time given to each school between one person, it also puts a mental strain on the teacher having to deal with both Fleming and Patrick Henry. Every year, both schools do 2 shows, one in the fall and one in the spring. That's 4 shows in total that one person will have to somehow manage and successfully do by themselves. That can be a lot on one person, and by splitting his time between 2 schools that are 7 miles apart from each other with 2 totally different productions being done at the same time, it doesn't seem plausible enough to truly work. All I ask is that you take a moment to reconsider this idea of changing teachers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, our last speaker is Aaron Thompson.
Hi, my name is Aaron Thompson, and I am a member of the William Fleming Colonial Theater, and I'm here to speak out against the moving of our director, Mr. Bayless, to the position of an English teacher for both Patrick Henry and Fleming, and I reside in Roanoke. Having Patrick Henry's theater teacher work at both schools teaching drama is unfair to Fleming and Patrick Henry, because Fleming is losing their director, and PH would have to share theirs. This will put stress on the teacher in having to direct 4 shows to full ability, which are held at the same time in the spring and fall for each school. Schedule for 2 schools and give his full effort for it. It will also put stress in having to commute back and forth between schools. Not only do the teachers feel stressed, but so do both theaters with having less director guidance and more scheduling conflict. This is why each teacher should stay at their respective schools to teach at the school they love and prevent future stress. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Madam Chair, that ends our citizen comments and participation.
Thank you, Mr. Cherry. On behalf of the school board, I want to thank everyone for taking the time to speak with us. As we said earlier, we do value the feedback of our community. Public input is important as we make decisions on behalf of all students in Roanoke City Public Schools. Moving on to the consent agenda, is there a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Moved. Second.
Moved by Dr. Jameson, seconded by Ms. Quintana. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion carries and the consent agenda items are approved. Ms. Watkins, can you please tell us about the gifts that have been received by RCPS?
Absolutely, it's my favorite part. The board accepts with gratitude the following donations. Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group provided a donation of $1,000 to Hurt Park to sponsor students on a trip to Jamestown. In celebration of Teacher Appreciation Week during May 4th through 8th, all RCPS teachers receive free Domino's pizza thanks to the generosity of the following community partners. One Roanoke, $3,000, Branch, $1,000, RCPS Education Foundation, $1,000, Roanoke City Council of PTAs and PTSAs, $200, for a total donation value of $5,200. Volunteers from One Roanoke even took the time during the week of May 4th through 8th to serve pizza at several of the schools so they could say thank you in person. I just want to thank our community partners, especially for this, and as many ways as we can to show gratitude to our unsung heroes who are our staff and teachers. We should do that. And I thank you so much for partnering with us. If there are any other community partners who wish to partner with Roanoke City Public Schools, we welcome you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Watkins. On to the superintendent's reports. Dr. White, could you please provide the superintendent's updates.
Very good, thank you. And good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the school board, and student representatives. This evening, we are bringing forward items for your consideration and information, including an update on the boundary study, approval of textbook adoption for elementary math and secondary social studies, approval of the 27-28 school year, approval of a budget amendment for the current 25-26 school year, and approval of programmatic recommendations for the 26-27 school year. So before we get to our agenda items, I would like to highlight a few items for the board and for the public's information. On April 30th, I was honored to attend the Roanoke Regional Chamber's inaugural State of CTE event alongside our school board, our students, many of our students, division leadership, and CTE leaders and staff. And we were proud to join our regional partners from Roanoke County, Salem, Botetourt, and Franklin County schools as we continue to collaborate and not compete in building strong pathways that prepare students for high-demand careers. A special thank you to our students who shared their experiences and insights, and to our businesses who partner with us to ensure our students graduate with a diploma and a resume. And I'm proud to announce that Roanoke City Public Schools was also the recipient of five Best of 2026 awards in the Roanoke Magazine. Kiana Fields of Hurt Park received Platinum for Best Educator. Road Tech received Silver for Best Vocational School, and RCPS as a whole received Bronze. And Patrick Henry High School received Bronze for Best Public School. So again, we are absolutely RCPS proud. I'd also like to give a special congratulations to our educators who recently graduated from Radford University's Educational Leadership Program. We were proud to partner with Radford to host this cohort. Special thanks, Dr. Williams, for your leadership as well, and to all of our district and division leadership team members who participated in that cohort. They've worked extremely hard to balance being educators while also returning to the classroom and being students in their own right, and we are, again, RCPS proud of them. Last, we have several public input opportunities available right now, and I want to encourage our students, our families, staff members, teachers, and community to share their feedback. As you will hear in just a moment, we have a survey open through May 18th to gain feedback on proposed attendance zone changes. Additionally, the biannual public comment period is open through May 29th for our school resource officer memorandum of understanding. So please take a moment to visit rcps.info/provide your input, and please weigh in when you get a chance. Now, on to our report this evening. We'll start with the boundary study update. I'll ask our Chief Operations Officer, Chris Perkins, to come forward to provide an update on the boundary study. So, Mr. Perkins, over to you.
So, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, I think Dr. White left off something from the Roanoke Magazine. She was the bronze female star of the Star City recipient. We knew she wouldn't brag on herself, so we'll brag on her. So it is my pleasure to bring to you an update and a recommendation that we would ask for your approval at your next board meeting. I want to start with first, just recap the purpose. The purpose of our boundary study, which we have been working on since the superintendent arrived with direction from, at that time, the school board. We have went through several phases of this, and I'll explain some of that history in just a second, but we have arrived at a recommendation for the first phase. You may remember that about this time last year, you approved the phased approach on how we are going to balance our attendance zones, our enrollment across our district, create good feeder patterns, and essentially address, or in the end, with the end goal of addressing the overcrowding at several schools, including our high schools. Some of the things that we wanted to do with this first step in our first phase was to ensure that we have the appropriate enrollment for Preston Park, and we want to relieve some overcrowding at Monterey in this first step. The Boundary Committee, which I will introduce here shortly, had a couple of things that they wanted to accomplish. One, they wanted to minimize student movement and the impact on families. Two, as a district, we wanted to make sure that we had good use of our facilities, and we wanted to maintain between an 85 and 90% functional capacity at each of our schools. This allows us to provide room for growth for future years. It also allows us to, if there's programming that is needed for the school, it allows us to put that programming in the school because there'll be room as we balance those and address the overcrowding. Picture's worth 1,000 words. This right here is what Preston Park looks like in its current building. If you remember in 2021, if you were on the board at that time, and if you were not in 2021, we brought forward a capital improvement request to build Preston Park Elementary School. We are going to open that school this summer. It is on time and on budget. You notice that we're having to conduct instruction in the hallways, and that is not conducive to a good learning environment. At Monterey, you notice that is a full classroom. The thing about Monterey is they don't have any preschool classes at that school. It's the only elementary school in Roanoke City Public Schools that does not have a preschool program because of the crowded situation at that school. We have with us in attendance some of our Boundary Steering Committee. So members of the board, I will call you if you'll just raise your hand. But those in attendance, as I call your name, if you will please stand. First, I'd like to recognize Chris Link, member of the school board, for sitting on the committee. Thank you. Ms. Deidre Trigg, member of the school board, for sitting on the committee. Division leadership, Dr. Cindy Williams. Thank you. Please stand, and we'll congratulate them at the end of this. They're not done. Let me just say this. They've got about 5 years worth of work that this committee is going to work on. Dr. Williams, you need to stand back up. Melissa Eckhart from Data and Analysis, Mary Catherine Bishop, Preschool, Walter Dowdy, Transportation, Jamae Gray, Special Education, Will Krause, Principal, Assistant Principal, Kiana Fields, Parents, Kim Corpening, Dana McKenzie, Students, Faith Purdue, Shane Wilson, school-based staff, Laura Hogan, Tamika Jones, Sherry Ambrose, and Dajane Taylor, and REA Representative Lindsay Grubb. We can give them a round of applause. What I want to recognize about this committee is that they provided great input to our partners, FutureThink, who I will talk a little bit about here in a second also. They had to review 5 different scenarios. Our experts brought to them different scenarios. They worked through those scenarios. It took time, extra time outside of their busy days, and they provided that input, arriving at the 5th scenario, which is what we will bring to you for recommendation and hopefully your approval. We're also conducting, as Dr. White said, a survey of requesting feedback from the community. We have, and I'll recap this again later, but we've had a virtual town hall, an in-person town hall, and we are going to cover a lot of the same information with you tonight so you have the full picture of what those scenarios look like, or what this scenario looks like. First, before we get there, our partners at FutureThink, and I want to introduce or talk about them briefly. They're not with us tonight, but they will be with us at the next meeting. RRMM started this process for us. If you remember, when we finished the feasibility study, they joined us in helping us look at high school overcrowding. And from high school overcrowding, we knew we needed good feeder patterns, and we knew we needed to address other things from the feasibility study for our elementary schools, particularly. And they introduced us to FutureThink, and they've been a long-standing relationship between RRMM and FutureThink that they've worked on several projects throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. FutureThink is an educational planning firm. This month, they celebrate their 20th year in business. Their president is Tracy Healy. Her GIS mapping experts are Rick Stein and Tyler Spears. And they have worked with over 1,000+ schools across the nation, helping them look at boundaries and attendance zones and sort those out. Just a reminder, you were presented with a feasibility study, kind of going back to that timeline when Dr. White was asked to look at the boundary study. We determined quickly after that we needed a feasibility study. We need to look at all of our buildings, what made up those buildings, and look at all of our enrollments in those buildings. And looked at the functional capacity on how we were providing the best educational atmosphere that we could. From that we presented to you, the board, in April of '24, Future Think put together a list of projections. And I'll talk about some of those projections as I go through here. But they looked at using a cohort method. And if you'll remember at the joint meeting with City Council and the school board, I presented a lot of this data. But they used a cohort method, live birth records for the city, and other things, and provided us projections, a high, a moderate, and a low. And they recommend going with the moderate projection. And that moderate projection indicates that over the next 10 years, our high schools will stay relatively stable, meaning they will remain overcrowded for the next 10 years. But as we look at live birth rates, we expect to have a small decline across the district of about 507 students is the estimate in this projection. Of that, the majority of that would be at the elementary level because of birth rates that we are seeing coming out of COVID. Now, they are rebounding a little bit, but we don't know, we don't think that will help us. So there'll be some reductions at the elementary level as we go through. And as part of this recommendation, we have considered those projections in what we are recommending. As a reminder for everybody watching and you, the school board, we are in the first phase. Preston Park is the immediate driver. Preston Park is coming online in August, as I just said, and we needed to help Preston Park. It was on average the last several years about 109% of its functional capacity. As you saw in the pictures, overcrowded. Monterey needs a preschool and some other programming, and so we hope to relieve them in this first step. This first step this first phase is not complete because next fall of '27, we're going to address the high numbers of enrollment at Round Hill and Westside and hopefully get them well below 600. Phase 2, we're going to look at the educational use, specifically Hurt Park, Lincoln Terrace, and Fairview. They were identified in the feasibility study as having some limitations based on the design of those schools, which are open campus. And then the third phase is to address the overcrowding conditions, specifically at Crystal Spring, Highland, Wasena, and Grandin. And as you can tell, we've stretched this over about 3 to 5 years as we work through this process. What families should know and what we have been sharing is that, as I said, Preston Park is above functional capacity. We will open that school. Monterey lacks the space for preschool. Fallon Park, a beautifully recently built school, is underutilized. It's below its functional capacity, and we want to right-size that school. And then Lincoln Terrace and Round Hill provide some minor boundaries adjustment at this phase, but we will be looking, of course, at Round Hill and West Side in the second part of phase 1. Our students, we know that their transition is going to be difficult, so we're going to provide orientation events at each school. We're going to provide counselor assistance, and we're going to have communication to ease the reassignment of these student transfers as much as possible as we move into this, if the recommendation is approved. We'll also make sure that our academic support services will not change across Roanoke City Public Schools. All of our schools are accredited, and we're very proud of that. And they provide the same level of service as any of our schools. And so we'll make sure that that will continue without interruption. And then for our family communication and stability, we'll make sure families receive these updates and opportunities to ask questions, provide feedback. And we know what we've been through with transportation, and it will be minimal impact on transportation. In fact, our goal long-term for this is to get us out of a 4-tier schedule and back to 2 bells. So the numbers and the impact based on address. As you can see here, there is some movement, and I want to provide a caveat before I go through these numbers. Special transfers and programmatic transfers will be dealt with on a case-by-case circumstance. So what I want to do is set people at ease. For instance, if they've had a permission to transfer to a school that we are talking about, they have that same opportunity, and we will continue that. If it's a programmatic transfer, we will continue that as well and work with them. I can tell you that the 11 transitioning that we have designated as transitioning out of Preston Park are part of that special transfer or the programmatic transfers. And so we will work with those families to make sure that we don't interfere or disrupt that. Transitioning in is 124 students for a net increase of approximately 113 students. At Monterey, where we need to free up some space, not only for our students, but our staff, we're looking at transitioning out 141 students and transitioning in about 52 for a net decrease of about 89 students. All of these are projections, and we have considered based on our moderate projection from our partners at Future Think. For Fallon Park, Round Hill, and Lincoln Terrace, Fallon Park is 5 students transitioning out, 63 transitioning in for a net increase of 58 students. Round Hill is 22 transitioning out at this step and 12 transitioning in for a reduction of approximately 10 students. And you see there Lincoln Terrace out 12 and 16 in for a net increase of 4. Keep in mind that Round Hill and Lincoln Terrace will be part of the second part of this phase so we can get Round Hill under. Keep in mind Round Hill is our 3rd largest school. Let me say that again, the 3rd largest school, and they outdo all of our middle schools behind our 2 high schools. So that is a large number of students in that school, and we want to make sure we get it below 700. And we're going to be closer to 600 with what I think this team will work on. What families should know, and we've provided this is all posted on our website. What is changing? We have targeted boundary adjustments to relieve overcrowding at Preston Park and Monterey. The schools involved are Preston Park, Monterey, Fallon Park, Lincoln Terrace, and Round Hill. Will my child move? Some students will be reassigned, and excuse me, let me go back. Some students will be reassigned. However, in those 5 schools, there's just over 2,600 students. Less than 10%, approximately 9% of those students will move. We will work with them, as we said, and the families to do that. So that is a minimal change based on to meet the need of Preston Park and Monterey. When will these changes occur? If approved, we hope to implement those in the 26-27 school year, so in August. How will the students be supported? I've mentioned that, but we'll have transition activities, counseling supports, and family communication. Transportation, I've said they're minimal, but our goal is to reduce ride times for elementary students and all of our students in the end. How can parents ask questions? We've provided, and I will show you the QR code at the end of this. We provided them with a link. We provided town halls, and we also provide a number if they just want to call and say, I don't want my child to have to go through this, and we'll work with them for a transfer consideration as we work through this. Will my student have to move again? It is our intent and our plans to limit students to no more than 1 boundary change as we work through the entire 3 phases. Will parents be notified of a change of school? Yes, we will directly notify parents after the school board votes on the recommendation on Tuesday, May 26th, if approved. Parents can anticipate a notification prior to the last day of school. Now, the reason we say the last day of school is that if you approve this, we will need time to load the shape files, which are the GIS files or the graphic information or the geographic information system, into the GIS database with the city for our attendance locator to actually work. We'll have to load those, make sure it works, and then they'll be able to type in their address and they'll know if they are impacted. Now, other ways for them to know that they're impacted, and I'll talk about those in a minute, but that's why we want to make sure we can get all of that loaded and ready to go. How will parents be notified? We will mail letters, we will do robocalls, we will do emails, we'll be on social media, we'll have open houses, we'll make sure they know everything that is going on. They will have the opportunity to visit their new school. We thought we could do a sneak peek last week at the town hall, but we were installing some floors and there were some strong odors in the school, and I didn't want anybody passing out, creating a lot of problems because we are on time and we'd like to stay on time. So, and if parents have questions after the end of this school year, who do they contact? Dr. Williams will be heading up the transfer and the questions after the school year ends. And you see there her number, and she will take those, and her team at the Department of Academics and Accountability will work through as many things as possible to help our families. So let's talk about what the changes actually look like. Now here, I know you can't tell a lot from this, but there is some changes from the current attendance zone to the new recommended attendance zone. So let's zoom in detail. In the northeast side of Preston Park, working with our partners at Future Think, we identified a section that would minimize student movement, but have good student, or there's good population of students that would attend Preston Park and help us with that. It helps us keep the neighborhood intact. It helps us keep the diversity of the school. And so that's the first area that we would recommend changing, which is technically, if you look at that, it's from about Trinkle to Huntington Circle, if you're familiar with the city. But I will show you how we have posted these online and at the town halls. We actually put them on large poster boards so they could see the actual address and block numbers. This is another focused area and where we are working on the west side of Preston Park with the pink is actually Round Hill. We're taking a portion of Round Hill and enrolling those students at Preston Park if approved, and then some small portions of Preston Park are going to Round Hill. The largest change involving Monterey will be working with Lincoln Terrace's attendance zone and extending that toward Hollins Road, and if you're familiar with Bluestone in that area. And then on the south side of the attendance zone, which Lincoln Terrace is actually the lavender or the light pink color. The teal color is Fallon Park. And we're extending Fallon Park and recommending that it moves west and a slight movement north of about 1/10 of a mile to achieve the proper enrollment to increase the functional capacity or increase the functional enrollment at Fallon Park. Now, as an example, we have posted these block numbers on our website for each school impacted that I've identified, and I'm not going to go through all of these addresses, but rest assured that it is online. It was on poster board, and parents had the opportunity to go up, find their block number, and say, yes, I've been impacted. When we load it, other parents who did not attend either or have not been to our website, they'll be able to go into the attendance locator, type in their address, and it will show them which school would be their attendance zone. I still want to note, again, special transfers and programmatic transfers, we will work with those families. This is a little bit of the timeline that we have shared and the QR code that we have shared with parents. Our virtual town hall occurred on May 4th. Our in-person town hall occurred on May 6th. Our survey started May 4th. We will keep that open through May 18th. And I have an update on that survey for you tonight. And our tonight's presentation is your update, and then we'll be asking for your vote on May the 26th. So a little bit on the feedback survey. We've had a total of 58 comments and returns on that survey. The breakdown is parent responses or guardians. We have teacher and staff, we have community members, and we have student responses in this survey. Out of the 58 responses we received, 34 demonstrate or report support for the action, 17 are against the action, and 7 have not decided on the action at this point. We have had good feedback at the in-person town hall and of the parents that were there. Myself and other staff members and committee members answered lots of great questions for those parents and guardians that were in attendance, as well as staff, because we know there's staff questions too. Because when you move students, staff follow students, and when you decrease in one school, increase in another, that's some of the things. And Mr. McKee is here to discuss some of that if you have questions. Just in summary, Preston Park has an appropriate enrollment starting day one. That's our goal. Monterey is relieved overcrowding, receives increased programming opportunities. And this is the first of several steps within the 3 phases to reduce overcrowding in elementary schools as we work to balance what we have currently. And with that, I'll take any questions you may have, whatever they may be.
Thank you very much, Mr. Perkins. We'll go ahead and start with our student representatives and also welcome Mr. Wade. We will circle back to recognize you when we get to the committee reports. So I make sure that we get to recognize your service this year. So Mr. Wade or Mr. Lopez Ortiz, do either of you all have any questions regarding the boundary presentation at this time? None? Okay, thank you. Ms. Trigg? Ms. Watkins?
I do. I have one question. I had 4, and you answered 3 of the 4 questions. You answered the question on the data behind the boundary selections, change selections. You answered the question about students, teachers moving when students move. And then this last question that I have is this going to create overcrowding in the middle schools?
So no, our middle schools, except for Breckenridge, are below their functional capacity. Breckenridge is right at it, but we added an addition. And where we're having some crowding issues at Breckenridge is actually the cafeteria.
Okay.
So Dr. Dowdy has done a great job working with his team. We're looking at how we can relieve some pressure for them by expanding that cafeteria potentially, not towards the new addition, but towards the backside of the school. So we'll work with Dr. Dowdy to continue that. But with our projections, our middle schools, after our elementary schools, we'll see a reduction as an expectation enrollment over the next 10 years before it reaches our high schools. So we don't believe that we're creating any, because the feeder patterns have not been adjusted yet. We're just adjusting the enrollment at the elementary schools. So those feeder patterns will stay the same for each elementary school as they feed into our middle schools. So it shouldn't create any overcrowding.
But that leads me to the second part of that question. If we're going to leave the middle schools alone, the feeder patterns are not going to change. There could be another disruption for a student going into that has gone into middle school who had a change in elementary school.
Potentially, yes, but there's 3 years of middle school, and so depending on where they are in elementary school, we're looking at about 3 to 5 years for the elementaries to be finished. Keep in mind that the schools themselves already cover the same number of students.
Okay.
For those feeder patterns into our middle schools. So we don't anticipate that will create a problem, but each year we have to relook, based on the recommendation from our consultant, we have to relook at all the scenarios. Because there's a couple of things that our consultants can't really can't get a grasp on for their prediction. For example, immigration and the movement of migration within the state and from outside the state and outside the country.
Right.
We don't know how that will impact us, so we'll have to run those scenarios again and look at those each year. And that's something we have to do anyway because we got to go through our capital improvement plan to do that. The other thing that they have a hard time predicting outside of live birth rates and the cohort methodology, which is where they track each grade, is our ability to track the affordable housing initiatives that the city has placed on, as a priority. And that affordable housing will impact because people, may move in. And so we've got to constantly pay attention to that. But our plan is to not move a student more than once. But when we decide, remember, we've got overcrowding that's going to last for at least 10 years at our high schools. Our high schools are really the next area we need to look at and continue to look at because we've made recommendations to this board and we want to make sure we stay on that. But our middle schools right now, unless there's some significant changes that we can't predict, we feel pretty certain that they'll stay stable. But we'll look at that each year.
Yeah, it makes me think about the housing that was, or the apartments that were created over at the old Marriott space, and if that contributed to the overcrowding at Fleming.
So I can tell you, the apartment complexes are our most vulnerable area when it comes to overcrowding.
Right.
If you go down 460 and you look at all the apartments going in there, we expect to have some migration to those apartments. We also, on the south side of our city in Southwest, we have some apartments going up, some duplexes and triplexes. And so we have to pay attention to that.
Okay.
So each year, we're committed, and the superintendent knows this, that as a division, we talk about this. Anytime we present a capital improvement plan or a capital maintenance plan, we've got to look at the enrollment. It goes also through staffing, through Mr. McKee's office and HR. Mr. McKee has to look at the enrollment and how it impacts staffing so that he can provide the proper staffing reports to the superintendent and to you, the board.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. And since you had brought up the teacher movement, I don't know if Mr. McKee wanted to add anything about how that process will go or any timelines therein after the school board vote.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, Student Representative and Dr. White. So in terms of the staffing, we're looking at the number of positions that have to move from Preston Park to Monterey. And so once we get the vote, we'll be able to identify those positions. And then we plan to notify those individuals as soon as the vote happen. But we want to do it sometime by the middle of June.
You meant from Monterey to Preston Park.
What did I say?
The opposite.
Opposite? Yeah, the opposite. I meant from Preston Park, from Monterey. I'm sorry. You got me all mixed up, man. So from Monterey to Preston Park, yes.
So the order of operations is the school board has to take a vote, and then you have to see how the student population will
Yes.
move, and then that will determine the
And then
amount
we,
of staff.
yes, ma'am, and then we will identify the principals, make sure they're well aware, and then we'll identify the individuals impacted. If it's before school's out, we like to have those conversations in person, so they know exactly, they have enough time to prepare for the move.
Did anyone have any questions for Mr. McKee at this time? Okay. Ms. Quintana, any questions regarding the presentation?
No, just thank you.
Mr. Link?
I do. You mentioned as part of your commentary, if a family is concerned about a move, our CPS will work with that family. We have existing mechanisms for appealing an attendance zone. Are those mechanisms sufficient for this process?
Yes, sir. You have a policy, a school board policy that talks about transfers. And you allow in that policy in section 5, I think, bullet D, you allow the superintendent for if there is an event or an emergency to address transfers, because we have a window when transfers are received. And so the superintendent has the ability to address that. This is an event which would allow those transfers to open back up under your policy, and the superintendent has that ability.
And Mr. Link, when we bring this back for your approval, what we'll do is have the date, that window, the new window for parents, because we understand that there are extenuating circumstances and that families have individual kind of circumstances and may want to be able to share that and to have that taken into consideration. So we'll bring that forward at the next meeting when we ask for your approval as well.
Okay, so our existing policy has a window in which that requests for reviewing attendance zones or whatever is supposed to take place. It sounds like that window in a traditional year has closed.
Yes.
But as part of this vote, we're going to extend that window to accommodate families just getting caught up to this process.
Yes,
Okay.
there's allowances and flexibility within the policy to do just that.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that question and clarification. Dr. Jamieson?
I think I have two questions. One, just for the benefit of all of us, could you remind us why the 85 to 90% functional capacity is an important number?
Yes. So as a school board policy, you have a target of 95%. The reason we went below that based on our projections is that we want to have this, we want to be able to plan for the future. And if there's programming, for instance, if there's an increase in students with disability enrollment, we want Dr. Pontius and his team to be able to provide services at their neighborhood school for the students that may need it. And right now, we bus our students with disabilities to locations where the programming exists, and we want to have that cushion to do that. Second is our preschool. We want the ability to have preschools at all of our elementary schools, and because preschool is a different funding mechanism and enrollment is different for preschool, and it's very fluid, we want to make sure that we leave room for that. And then we want to make sure that we also have room because of we don't know how to predict how immigration will affect us, and we don't know how to predict how the affordable housing, as I already mentioned, will affect us. So we talking with our consultants and our who are our experts, they said it's a good to have a target under what your policy requires so that you can do those things. And we have room because we have some of our schools that are under the functional capacity. Let me explain functional capacity. Functional capacity is the student to teacher ratio by classroom. So if we have, for instance, VDOE says at the 5th grade level, you can have 24-25 to 1 student teacher ratio. We want to be able to receive money from the state in classroom reduction efforts, and we also want to make sure the teachers can provide that level of rigor for instruction and it be received. So smaller class sizes create better educational environments, and that's a vision from the superintendent and you as a board that you have voiced. And so that's why we chose the 85 to 90% to allow for that growth.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a helpful reminder. And then my other question is, for those parents who are going to be affected, are we tracking in some way the number of families along those corridors who are acknowledging, like in some way to us, I got it, this impacts me? Do you follow me? Here's my concern, is that some, this could have been me back in the day, checked out parent is, because they're busy, life is busy, and you suddenly put your child on a bus and they're going the opposite direction of where you thought. So I'm wondering if we're doing anything to ensure that affected families, we know they know, right? It's not just because, I applaud all the efforts. This is not a criticism on the efforts we had, but are we ensuring all of this, when we look at those numbers, they're big numbers, but they're not huge numbers, that absolutely everybody has, been told and has said back to us, I know, whether I like it or not, I know.
Correct, and we agree with you. So our intent is to provide mailers, provide emails, provide robocalls, because we know, we have identified the students that are currently enrolled in Roanoke City Public Schools as they are designated to move under this recommendation. So we know who they are. It's the ones that we don't know, which would be a process that we already have in place. As an example, our Community Empowerment Center, when they go to register for school, is a great place to do that, or our registrars at each school as they register. So we can cover that. The existing students, we intend to say, your child is attendance boundary has changed, your new school is X, and we want to make sure we get that out. And we have them by student ID, by name, and by address already identified. The only thing that may fall through the cracks is if someone moves and we're not notified of that move.
But we are in some way, for everything that we think we can feasibly know, we're trying to communicate. Thank you.
Absolutely, yes.
And I guess I have a quick comment, and then I'm done, and it's really more for the board than and a reminder to all of us. I mean, we know that our high schools are overcrowded. We know that they're going to be for 10 years. I can't help but say the very first thing I ever did on this board in 2017 was walk Preston Park, and we started talking about overcrowding. It's going to take the fall. It happened my first day in this job, and it won't be opened until after my last day. We don't have the luxury of waiting, and I know there's realities. Don't lose sight of it. The pandemic had a big impact on us losing sight of boundaries. This is a huge crisis, and just don't lose sight of it. Because it's that long, even when you're staring at the problem. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Quintana, did you have a comment or
Yes.
query?
Just to, I guess, piggyback on Dr. Jameson, the students and families that we know will be affected, will they be notified before the end of the school year?
So our intent is, if this is approved at your your May 26th meeting, our intent is to get all the shape files loaded. We have a list of all the students that are currently enrolled at Roanoke City Public Schools that are impacted. We intend to make those notifications. Email, snail mail, or the postal service. We're going to put it on Facebook. We're going to put it out as many places as we can get there. Again, the only situation that we can anticipate where we may have an issue is if we don't know you've moved and we haven't been advised yet. So, but we hope to cover that for enrollment into school, so we can get that covered. But that's the only anticipated issues that I can and the team can determine at this point.
Thank you.
Madam Chair. Thank you. And, oh, yes, Ms. Trigg, please.
Can I make one suggestion that for those students that are impacted, that we give them like some kind of formal welcome or orientation to their new school? We will.
Oh, absolutely. It's already in the plans. We will have orientation events. We encourage parents, and because we're proud of all of our schools, we encourage parents to visit the school. Because we've had some feedback where I don't want to go to that school, and that's not fair to the school. So all we ask is give it the opportunity, visit our school, talk to our teachers, talk to, to the staff there, because they're all great.
They are.
Thank you. And Vice Chair Cherry?
Yes, so back to the survey and feedback, they have until the 18th?
To the 18th, yes, sir.
All right, so just wanted to remind the community of that because we do want to hear from them. I think we're in the 50s. We'd love to hear from it because these are very sensitive topics, and we want to make sure we give every opportunity, and we have. And the only comment I have, because everybody's asked my questions, thank you. But awesome transparency. I think with these topics, the most important thing for me is how transparent are we to the community? What do they know? We want to make sure that our community is very aware of what we're doing. Not just what we're doing, they get a chance to see the data that we are basing our decision-making off of. That's very important. So again, just want to say thank you from operations guy to operations guy. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. And thank you again to the board as well for the thorough discussion on this topic, because we know that it makes a big difference to a lot of people moving forward. So thank you very much.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Next, I'll ask Dr. Cindy Williams, Chief Academic Officer, and Dr. Wendy Durham, our Executive Director of Academics, to come forward to recommend elementary math and secondary social studies instructional materials for the board's consideration. Dr. Williams.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, school board members, student representatives, and Dr. White. Dr. Durham and I are here tonight to share information about our spring 2026 textbook adoption for elementary math and secondary social studies. This process is designed to help us align our instructional resources to the Virginia Standards of Learning for math and history. All of the textbooks that we reviewed are on the state-approved list. It also provides high-quality instructional materials for teachers as required by House Bill 2777, which requires us to have aligned materials, HQIMs, for the 4 content areas. Also, we want to make sure that we ensure access of all these materials to help us prove student outcomes, and this work supports Pathway 1, academics and post-secondary success of the strategic plan. So this process follows policy IIAA, where we appoint evaluation committees to review and evaluate the textbooks. We have specific criteria that we establish and we share. We provide notice to stakeholders so they can review the materials and provide us feedback and comments, and that's all incorporated in the decision-making process. Along with considering adopting new textbooks, we always pair it with professional learning because we want to support our teachers and instructional staff. We will have informational sessions before we leave for the summer break. In the summer, we'll have in-person and virtual sessions. And of course, when teachers come back in August, we will have professional learning opportunities. And then throughout the year, our instructional supervisors and our instructional coaches support our teachers during PLCs, faculty meetings, grade level meetings. This time, I'd like to ask Dr. Durham to come up and share more about the review and selection, but I also want to say thank you to her and to John Barris, who is our math supervisor, and Crystal DeLong-Moorfield, who is our history supervisor, and all the committee members, because this is a collective effort over many months to make sure that we pick the correct materials.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, and student representatives, and Dr. White. Thank you for having me this evening. I'm here to present to you the elementary math textbook adoption and our secondary social studies. So as Dr. Williams explained, we do have a committee and we do have several processes that we go through in order to adopt our textbooks. And we have to get feedback from all of our stakeholders, and we did that with math on our professional development day on February 20th, 2026. We had our curriculum review with the representatives from our finalists from our 2 top choices for math core programming, and that was from KIDM and from Eureka Math. We had over 300 teachers provide their input that day, which was awesome. And we gave them a guide to provide feedback to let us know what they thought about the programs. And we also have a core program adoption committee for math. We have 64 members who are a part of that committee, and to help us to select to get the feedback and to help us select that math textbook. And we also got some feedback from our community through our open house at the Community Engagement Center, and we had some math nights at Fishburne Park and Morningside. After we collected all the information and the data from our math feedback, we found out that we have received 201 responses and 178 were for KIDM. So that is what we are going to recommend for you guys tonight. KIDM is a highly aligned program and textbook to our Virginia standards, about 90% for all K-5 across the spectrum. So that's tight alignment to our standards, and we're excited about that. It offers us engaging mathematical tasks. It gives us opportunities for our students to have that mathematical discourse. It encourages that problem solving. And these are going to be digital resources for our students, but I want to make sure that we are clear that these are textbooks that are online. It is not a program where students sit down in front of a screen and work out and sit for an hour. It's just where they'll access the instructional materials, where they'll see the textbook, and they can actually do some assessments online through this program, and the assessment information that we get from the assessment will modify the teacher's instructional resources and provide her or him with their instructional resources that they need to help address the students during that, how they performed on the assessment. So we're excited about the adaptive quality of that technology resource. So we are looking at the digital resources. Our teachers will have, though, print materials for their textbooks, for their teacher editions. And if we ever need any kind of printed materials for any students with special needs or accommodations, or we just need some print materials, we will be sure to get those and purchase those as needed. So we're super excited about this program. This is the most adopted math program in our CIP. That's the consortium that we are a member of, and it's the most favored one. Mr. Barris was on that committee and reviewed lots of different math programs with that committee, and it came out in the top with CIP as well. So we're right in line with our neighbors and what they're choosing. So it is fully funded by our grant. Mr. Barris and his team applied for a math grant through the VDOE. So yes, this is some grant funding that we will use to pay for this textbooks, and it's going to cost us about $720,000, and it'll give us a 6-year adoption. That provides us with our student teacher digital license, our teacher print editions, and our in-person and virtual trainings. And we're going to continue that support for our teachers. As Dr. Williams mentioned, we will have some summer training, and we will have some ongoing training throughout the year for our teachers for math. So that's the update on math. And then we also had, the same time, we had our secondary social studies going on, and we had our community review and selection processes, happening for our secondary social studies. The last time we had a secondary social studies book adoption was 2012. So we were excited to explore some new materials in this area. We did the same thing with social studies that we did with math on the professional development day. We set up shop and our teachers were able to come and review. We provided that guide so they could provide feedback. So we did that on the 20th. We had a core program adoption committee. There's fewer secondary social studies teachers than elementary math teachers. So the committee was a little bit smaller, so we only had 5 people on that committee because it's a smaller group of people. But we did have all of our middle school and our high schools were represented in those different areas. And then we had an open community review, and we had some feedback from some community members on February 20th from 2:30 to 6:30. These are a list of all the different books that we reviewed, and we provided as available for our teachers and our stakeholders to look at. And you can see these are on the list, as Dr. Williams mentioned, from the Virginia Department of Education. And coming out from the top, we received 10 feedback from there's 69 secondary social studies teachers. We had 10 of them actually voice their opinions. We had received some input from one community member, and the committee took that feedback. They reviewed the books and the selections, and this is what came out on top. We selected 5 Ponds Press for grades 6 through 8, McGraw-Hill for 8th grade geography and 9th, 10th, and 12th grade social studies, and W.W. Norton for 11th grade U.S. history. If you are a formal history teacher or if you've worked with a history teacher, you know that these are different content areas. So we picked the best, the publishers and the best textbook that matches that content area. So that's what's different for history than it is for math across the board. So we're recommending that we purchase class sets for each one of our, and teacher editions for each one of our secondary classrooms in our schools. That's going to estimate us to cost around $291,000 and $291,118. And we have budgeted for this in our FY27 budget. We will continue to use all supplemental resources. Our teachers have tons of technology and online resources, so we have lots of supplemental resources that will continue to help our students in our classrooms with social studies. So I'm bringing to you tonight, I'm asking and recommending that we vote to approve KIDM as the high-quality instructional material for our elementary math, 5 Ponds Press for social studies in grades 6 through 8, McGraw-Hill for 8th grade geography, 9th, 10th, and 12th grade social studies, and W.W. Norton for 11th grade U.S. history. And we're prepared to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Williams and Dr. Durham. Does the board have any comments or questions? We'll start on this side. Does anyone on this side have any comments or questions? No, not even from our student who's using a social studies textbook adopted in 2012? No, I'm just not meaning to call you out. That was a long time ago. And on this side?
No questions.
Okay. No. I do want to clarify, so for the social studies, when you say a class set, you mean physical books in the classroom, and then the online materials will be the supplemental materials?
Yes, ma'am.
And it wasn't noted on the slide, but again, I presume during the review that it's all aligned with Virginia curriculum.
Yes, ma'am. These are from the VDOE list. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, that would then therefore be implied. So thank you very much. So without any further questions, is there a motion and a second to approve the adoption of KIDM as the HQIM, or high quality instructional material, for elementary math, 5 Ponds Press for grades 6 through 8 social studies, McGraw-Hill for 8th grade geography, and 9th, 10th, and 12th grade social studies, and W.W. Norton for 11th grade U.S. history?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Cherry. Is there a second? Ms. Trigg, seconded by Ms. Trigg? I had no idea. Is there any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Thank you very much. The motion carries. The instructional materials for elementary math and secondary social studies are approved, and also kudos for that innovation grant, too.
Yes. Very good.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Dr. Williams, Dr. Durham. Next, I'll ask our Chief Instructional Officer, Archie Freeman, to present the 27-28 school year calendar for the board's consideration. Mr. Freeman.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Cherry, members of the board, student representatives, and Dr. White. Before I mention anything about the calendar this afternoon, I do want to take time to say thank you to those that have served over the years on the calendar committee, especially those administrators, professional staff, classified staff, parents, and also to our OASIS team, because each time that we met, we had corrections or modifications we had to make to the calendar. They quickly made those adjustments so we could go and have our next meeting. As we know, we want to maintain our compliance in our calendar, so we do have 180 days for our calendar. We also have a minimum of 990 instructional hours. We actually have more than that, so it will exceed it, so we have built-in time in our calendar in case we have inclement weather or emergency closings. 3 calendars were developed for voting. All 3 of those options allowed the semester to end before winter break. You have already received it in previous communication and documentation in your Friday packet, giving you a summary of each. I'm excited to announce that we had 1,180 survey responses this school year.
Awesome.
Which is 52% of parents and guardians and 48% of employees. With option 3 being the actual option that we'll be presenting tonight for you all for approval. Option 3 does allow for school to start on August the 10th, and it does also allow for winter break once again to the semester to end before winter break, but it also allows for us to have a work day upon returning from winter break, graduation taking place before Memorial Day weekend, and our spring break will be at the end of March. And that spring break does go along with the Botetourt County approved calendar, but it does not go along with the Roanoke County calendar. I think we'll find out that most of our parents don't want to be home with their students on spring break sometimes. So on tonight, we want to have that the calendar committee members respectfully recommend that Roanoke City School Board approve calendar option 3 with the votes of 50% of the votes for the 27-28 school year that starts all teachers August the 3rd, first day of school August the 10th, first semester ending before winter break, a work day upon returning from break, and the school year ending May the 25th with a service day on May the 26th.
Thank you very much, Mr. Freeman. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Freeman regarding the calendar? Okay, I've taught when you finished before break for the semester. It's glorious. So, and the workday after break.
I will say, Mr. Freeman, thank you for your
Yes.
ongoing work on this calendar over
Yes.
years and years and years.
Oh, yeah.
I have been a thorn in your side occasionally about this, but thank you for working on improving the process and getting good results.
And thank you to everyone who submitted responses on the survey. So with all that said, is there a motion and a second to approve the presented calendar option number 3 for the 2027-2028 school year?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Quintana, seconded by Ms. Watkins. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. And the motion carries. The 2027-2028 school calendar is approved. Thank you so much, Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, and before I take my seat, I want to remind the public that we start our 26-27 school year calendar being August the 11th as the first day of school. Just a reminder that it's going to be a short summer.
Short summer. Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Next, I'll ask our Chief Financial Officer, Kathleen Jackson, to come forward to present recommended amendments to the 2025-2026 General Fund and Capital Fund budgets based on changes to state budgeted funding for schools and projected year-end spending. So with that, Mrs. Jackson.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Mrs. Apel, Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Cherry, members of the school board, and Dr. White. As Dr. White stated, we do have some changes that we want to make, both due to changes that the state made to the state budget, and just as we are getting a little bit closer to the end of the year, looking at our anticipation of actual expenditures and making sure we have appropriate amounts budgeted by category. So jumping in to that, the biggest area that impacts this budget amendment is the bonus funding. So the General Assembly did amend the current year budget to add funding for a bonus for school staff in the current year. The state calculated that amount based on the state share, which for us is about 2/3 of the cost of an average of a $1,500 bonus for standards of quality positions. So it's important to remember that the standards of quality don't include a large number of the positions that we actually need to meet the student needs and the things that the state code says are necessary. So I wanted to take a few minutes just to kind of dig into that. It's an opportunity because we do get questions about SOQ positions, not SOQ positions, quite a bit, and that's understandably not something that is terribly clear. So I'm going to use this opportunity to dig into that a little bit and provide some context. Non-SOQ positions are not extra types of positions or things that we choose to do that the state says aren't really necessary. It's more of the things that the state says are required. And so I just have a few examples here to kind of put that in context. Kindergarten aides, for example, the state funds 66% of an average salary cost for just over 11 kindergarten aides. We employ 26. And you can see next to that, I put kind of the teacher to student ratio there. So I hope you'll agree with me that none of our ratios are ridiculously small or anything like that. We employ about 1 for every 2 kindergarten classrooms in that area. The state provides 66% of an average salary for just over 40 school counselors. We employ 60. And sort of the biggest variance there is instructional support and supervision in the form of assistant principals. The state funds 2/3 of an average salary of about 8.5 for all of our schools. We employ 45. So, that's 1 for every 200 and almost 90. We would have 1 for every 1,500 students. So I think anybody who's been at a school could probably imagine what that might be like if we'd staffed at that level. So that's what we're talking about when we are discussing in these situations where it's wonderful that the state has provided some funding to allow us to do a bonus, but there's significant local dollars that would be needed to truly be able to provide $1,500 per person. Because of all of these, there would be no way to say, okay, you 11 kindergarten aides, good on you, you get the bonus, the other 15, sorry. So we do whatever we can that we get, we want to do for everyone. So that state calculation is about $1.5 million, a little over $1.5 million that was added to the state budget for the state share of a $1,500 bonus, but it will cost us approximately $4 million to do that level of a bonus for all staff. So we are certainly going to endeavor to do that. We are working to be able to put that in place by June 30th at $1,500 for full-time, $750 for part-time. But our ability to provide that actual dollar amount will depend on available funds year end. So that the actual dollar amount of the bonus that everyone receives may have to vary depending on the funds we have available. You may recall that last year the state provided a portion of funds. They calculated it based on an average of $1,000 per SOQ. Our staff got closer to $500 because we couldn't provide the enough necessary funds to get all the way up to that level. So we will do our level best to get up to that point for this bonus for staff who are currently employed in the current year, again, to make sure that that happens before June 30 for our existing staff. A couple other areas where you'll see we're requesting a change is an increase in budget and for utility costs. We are anticipating that our utilities are going to come in a bit higher than we had anticipated. So we are requesting it to move some funds chiefly available through salary lapse and vacant positions in other areas into our operations and facilities category to make sure that we have enough funds budgeted for utility costs. And then debt service is another area where we didn't have the full information initially in the debt repayment schedule that we were provided. So we consequently under budgeted a bit for the amount of funds that we were expected to pay back to the city for debt service related to school facilities. So we need to increase that category as well. Lastly, in our capital fund, we are requesting an amendment to that budget to align the expenditure budget to where we're anticipating will be based on the progress of our construction projects. As you'll recall, the city reappropriated almost $18 million of funds that the school board had previously saved for specific projects in our capital improvement plans, and the city allowed us to keep those funds for those ongoing projects. We have about $8 million, a little over $8 million of that were remaining at the beginning of this year for those projects. And so we are looking at total expenditures for, it's chiefly Preston Park, but the projects that were approved and the expenditures that what's encumbered so far and what we think is actually going to hit in this year. That project won't quite be done by June 30, so it will continue into the next year, but we are requesting an amendment based on what we think might hit in this year based on our current level of encumbrances in the capital fund. So reviewing that, so we have the 1.5 million additional in state funds on the revenue side, and then you'll see an increase in instruction for adjusting for that bonus payment, 900,000 addition to our operations and facilities, and 158,177 in our debt service budget based on the updated debt repayment schedule that we've received. And on the capital fund side, you see we have an adjustment of about $2.4 million to increase that projected spend to about $3.4 million for the year in capital funds based on where we feel we'll be by year end in the Preston Park project. So I will stop there, and our request to you tonight would be to approve the amended current year budget as presented, but I'm happy to take questions or comments.
We'll start on this side, Mr. Wade, Ms. Trigg, or Ms. Watkins. Any questions from this presentation?
Just a comment. We were already, we're adjusting with nothing to pull from. How are we doing this?
Not sure I follow your question.
Well,
Can you say that?
we were already up against a really, really tight budget, and just, making these adjustments and giving the bonuses and all of that feels like we're gonna be even tighter.
You'll see a little later in the
tight.
meeting that it's looking like we are gonna be really tight in the budget this year, but we certainly are working to make use of every cent that is provided to us. And so we are projecting that our expenses are going to come in a bit under budget based on our experience thus far. You'll see that in a few minutes, a little later in the meeting with our monthly budget update. So we will be using those funds, which is primarily, it's not exclusively, but primarily in personnel and benefits through vacant positions and that sort of thing, to move into allowing us to hopefully get up to the full $1,500 bonus by year end.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. And yes, Ms. Jackson did note it, but the expenditures and revenues will be touched on in that financial
Yes,
forecast.
I heard
And
that.
some nice slides there, I think. So on this side, nope. Mr. Link?
One tiny clarification. You're rounding down some of our expected capital project expenditures based on how Preston Park is progressing right now. It's not going to be done by June 30th.
Correct.
Those funds are going to sit somewhere to be available for us to finish out Preston Park in fiscal year 26-27, correct?
Yes, they're in our capital fund, and so we are permitted to retain funds that, as long as they're appropriated by the governing body, which they have been, for those types of ongoing projects, as long as they've been budgeted for those specific approved projects, which they have been.
So we're taking those funds out of our existing budget, we're putting back in the capital fund where they will happily live.
They're already in the capital fund.
Right.
We're just
Not taking
updating the portion of that available funds that we think is going to hit in this
Okay.
fiscal year to make
Okay.
sure we have an appropriate amount budgeted.
To finish out the project for
Correct.
26-27. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And my understanding too is that basically we still have the last two phases at Preston Park, which is demo and then building up of the external park area where the old school is.
That is correct. We expect the new building to be turned over to us with a certificate of occupancy on July the 20th. And then all of the demolition and the field installation through winter of '27.
Right. Thank you very much. Did that clear up your question or any other questions or comments about that portion? Dr. Jamieson?
I would just add to Ms. Watkins' concern from this point, just as a reminder to all of those listening, part of what we're looking at is a new approach to year-end spending. This is previous years when we've talked about having a fund balance. This allowed us to use every penny much more strategically because we knew that there was a fund that we would account for if we were over and under. Yes. I want to say all that because for two reasons. One is what you're proposing is, I think, the appropriate risk tolerance we now have to consider, right? We are trying to skate in as close to zero as possible, and in a budget our size, that's an enormous undertaking. And to applaud you for doing this, because if the preliminary numbers are right, I am sure this is keeping you up at night because I've worked with you a long time.
That's going to make her
Hey, don't
very
applaud yet.
nervous, I
Wait
can
till
tell
after
you.
June 30 maybe, and we'll see
So
how we do.
I am
Not
certain
gonna
of
breathe
that.
until then,
But
yes.
this is, I mean, those folks who have not been in governmental budgeting before, when you have a zero-based budget, this is the reality when you do not have a contingency fund to pull from. So these conversations will be annual now. So thank you for doing your best with all of this in a brand-new process and system. I just want to publicly acknowledge the good work, and I know the stress it's causing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jameson. Mr. Cherry?
Yeah, I was going to say new realities here, so thank you for adjusting and pivoting, and yeah, this is where we are, so thank you for giving us this information.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jackson. So with all of that said, is there a motion and a second to approve the amendment to the 2025-2026 budget in the general fund and capital fund as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Link, seconded by Ms. Trigg. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. The motion carries. The amendment to the 2025-2026 budget in the general fund and capital fund is approved.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Jackson, and don't go far. So let's get to a review of the 2026-2027 programmatic budget recommendation for the board's approval. And before we proceed, I want to provide the community with some important updates. As you know, yesterday, City Council approved its budget, which included the change in the amount of school funding provided, which Mrs. Jackson will provide information on tonight as well. God bless you. Mrs. Jackson first presented these programmatic considerations at the January 27th work session, and they have been discussed several times since. The recommendations coming to you tonight for approval were presented and discussed in detail at our previous workshop on April 28th based on community feedback. And I want to sincerely thank our students and our families and our staff for staying engaged throughout this process. So Mrs. Jackson will now walk us through those recommendations again, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much. So we'll start just, again, this will be because we had such an opportunity for a robust discussion on these topics last meeting. I won't dig in quite to that detail again this evening, but certainly want to provide a summary of what is being presented and what we are requesting your approval for this evening. So just a reminder, I always want to start with kind of our priorities that we used in beginning this process and considering changes that could possibly be made. We looked at programs or services that might require specialty transportation, additional routes that add cost. That was certainly a big consideration of things that we looked at. Do the programs or services go above and beyond what is required by standards of quality? As we just had discussion, I think we can all agree that standards of quality are the low bar that we don't want to get down to, but nonetheless, we certainly need to consider, at the very least, we have to do what is required by standards of quality. So anything that falls within that area is off the table. We have to do those services. Are additional personnel required to provide the program or service? And lastly, can we provide the program or services in some other way? Can we retain that in a different model that would be less costly? So that's those are sort of the guiding principles that we use throughout this process. So the items that are under consideration that we are recommending for your approval this evening are reduction to activity bus services, after school activity buses from school to home at the middle and high school levels. Our recommendation in that area is to reduce, not eliminate, activity bus services and limit it to the time periods where our research into usage showed they were most used, which is Monday through Thursday during the spring athletic season. So we project that savings, our original projection, eliminating completely would have saved about $350,000. So our recommendation to you with this modified approach, we project will save about $232,800. On the specialty gifted program Play-Doh, our recommendation would be to move towards a reduction in that area, which in the 26-27 school year would include eliminating third grade from that program, so retaining the existing students who will be fourth and fifth graders next year, consolidating that program at one location. It's currently at two. That one location would be Highland Park Elementary, and to continue offering transportation for those families that indicated that they do need that service in order to be able to continue to participate in the program. So our personnel-related projected cost savings are about $448,000 in that area. Transportation is a big area, but all of the transportation savings kind of tie together, so I'll get to that in just a second. We are recommending a reduction to the number of Virginia Preschool Initiative 3-year-old preschool classrooms, going from 9 to 3. These are not special education related services, so I want to be careful to clarify that we are not suggesting any reduction in special education services, but a reduction to those Virginia Preschool Initiative classrooms. So that would have about a $430,000 projected savings on the personnel side. And then on the transportation side, both the Play-Doh changes and the VPI changes would free up buses that can then allow us to rely less on contracted point-to-point individualized transportation services, which we've increasingly had to do for required services for students with disabilities or students experiencing homelessness, for example. So we will collectively, with all of those changes, by freeing up those buses and enabling us to use them in another way, we project that to reduce our transportation costs by about $542,600. And then we have several cost reduction areas that we are recommending to help us reduce our budget. The bulk of the remaining recommendations are in the facilities and operations area. So you see here, I know we've talked a lot about reducing our budget for facility maintenance, so deferring some needs in that area by about $650,000, reducing our contracted services for crossing guard duties, using some existing staff to take that place. Some reductions in the technology equipment area, about $200,000, reducing our mowing frequency, deferring replacement of equipment and supplies for athletics, about $145,000, deferring drainage improvements on the Addison soccer field, about $175,000, so we would put that off, eliminating the lease for one additional Evolve system, so doesn't reduce what we have. We were hoping to add another. We've taken that off the table. That's about $70,000. And then releasing some leased vehicles for the operations area would save us about $22,000. So all of those items together would reduce our budget by about $1,471,000. And then other areas of reduction that are being proposed, kind of loosely trying to group those together, professional learning related or staff engagement. So we are looking at a significant reduction to our budget for conference travel for staff, about $300,000, eliminating the letters training. There are some free modules available from the Virginia Department of Education. Admittedly, we went with letters because we felt like it was superior, but there are alternatives available. So that would save about $190,000. And then reducing or eliminating some of our staff development activities and events like convocation would save about $55,000, totaling about $545,000. And then lastly, we are intending to eliminate our use of MAP testing. Our assessment for students, about $80,000 savings there, and then an overall sort of division-wide reduction of budgets for materials and supplies across all schools and departments would save about $108,000. So all of those items with the personnel-related costs and the first couple of items would save the division about $3.8 million. If you take the personnel part out and just look at the transportation and operational savings, we're just under $3 million in savings from these recommended changes. So our request is approval of the changes as presented this evening for the 26-27 budget.
Thank you very much for that rundown, Ms. Jackson, on the details. We'll start with our student representatives, which I'm also going to note that you have 15 minutes, I think, until they turn into pumpkins at 9. Yes. Yep. And so I also don't want to be remiss to make sure that we recognize Mr. Wade, and we do have some things for you for your participation with us this year as a student representative. So thank you very much for your service. So do either of you have any questions or comments on any of those any of those programmatic items as presented by Ms. Jackson? None. And Mr. Wade?
I had one. So the Play-Doh kids that go to
Oh, good. Yep.
So the Play-Doh kids that go to Fairview, will they have to transfer to Highland Park since you're trying to just put Play-Doh program over there?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
All of the students currently in Plato would continue to be served. Those that are moving up to 4th and 5th grade, we would just consolidate them all together in classrooms that would be at one school. Yes.
Thank you for asking that. And I do know that that was one question that we did get that was not fully explored at the last meeting, was how the site was chosen with the contraction of Plato to one site, how the site of Highland Park was chosen and recommended by the administration.
From an operational perspective, the majority of students in Plato attend Highland Park. Highland Park will reduce 2 classrooms because they currently have 6. It will go to 4, so we have space at Highland Park for that. And we will provide transportation. I think in a survey, approximately 8 families would need transportation overall out of the 148 currently participating. And then that would be reduced because we don't have new 3rd graders as they transition into 4th grade. So we'll be able to cover that because it's a central location as well in the city. It's problematic because we have a lot of buses and parents and walkers at that location already, but it's still only 2 grades and a total of 4 classes.
Thank you. And thank you for that question, Mr. Wade. On this side, Ms. Trigg, do you have any questions or comments regarding this presentation so far?
I just have a comment to just stress for anyone that's listening and viewing, and it goes back that even though we are reducing Play-Doh, we still have gifted and talented through the schools It is a great program throughout our elementary schools. As Mr. Perkins stated, all of our elementary schools are amazing. I can speak to that as a parent, as my son was in the gifted and talented, and he chose not to go to Plato because he loved being friends with everybody in the school. And then he also got the opportunity to even help lower grades. When he was in the 3rd grade, he went to his old 2nd grade teacher after he finished work, and he helped tutor those. So it is opportunity. He did test highest in his elementary school. And so I don't want anyone discouraged who cannot get into the Plato program or do not have it for 3rd grade. The child will still be successful in Roanoke City Public Schools.
Thank you, Ms. Trigg. Ms. Watkins?
I don't have any questions, but I did want to say something a little different or additional, something additionally. I just wanted to thank all of the parents, teachers, students, and contributors who have voiced their opinions, who have shared their comments, emails, questions, contacted us in different ways, who've participated in when we have had surveys or given you the opportunity to speak. Also in that acknowledgement, I want to also acknowledge from the board's perspective, we see that everyone has something that they're passionate about. There's a program or, something that everyone feels or targets as the most important thing to them that they don't want to be reduced. And so I just want everyone to know that we have considered everything that we can possibly consider. We have mulled over this. We have asked the hard questions. We've taken your questions and brought them out. You guys, the staff has done all the research. We've researched some things ourselves. We've circled back around. We've made adjustments where we can. This is one of the hardest decisions that we have had to make as board members, and we don't take it lightly. But it's important for folks to remember that we cannot stand on this issue. We can't say that we're going to take from this and give to that. We've been trying to protect the classrooms. We've been trying to make sure that we hold on to our very, very important and talented staff in all positions in our organization, in the division. So this is hard, right? But we have considered everything that has come our way and then some. A lot of us, our kids, are either currently going through Roanoke City Public Schools or have been through Roanoke City Public Schools. And I just need everyone to understand that we are not insensitive to all of the concerns that people have.
Thank you very much, Ms. Watkins. Well put. Ms. Quintana?
I don't have much to add. I'll piggyback on what Ms. Watkins said. For me personally, being here, my 2nd year with you guys, this was very rough. I want to tell the staff, administrative teachers, we see you, we hear you, we are sorry, we feel it. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Ms. Quintana. Mr. Link?
You answered it. I had a question about how we were choosing Highland Park as the right infrastructure for Plato, and you answered it. Thank you.
Dr. Jameson?
Yes. I guess I also have some general reminders. Is that we have been talking about this since the middle of fall 2026. This budget isn't new. I want to commend everybody, and echoing Ms. Watkins' comments about the participation. We've watched these recommendations change as the circumstances have changed, and we've watched these recommendations come and reflect the emerging will and the opportunities as the context has changed. So I want to thank everybody who's touched this, that this has truly reflected the immediate changing circumstances for over 9 months, really. we've been talking about this for a long time, and also to remind everybody that this is the second half of our budget cuts. This is not our first. We've already cut to find 10, 9, a lot of money. That involved over 60 positions to be lost and people who lost their jobs. And while these are painful and these are hard, by my account, this is about 30 positions additionally we didn't cut. These cuts are saving 30 other jobs, approximately. And I think it's really important to bear in mind the significance of what we've done this year, and this is the second version of what we've done. So thank you for all your hard work on this. These are all important things. Nobody wants to make these choices. But now we're talking about saving livelihoods.
Yep.
And people who depend on this income. So thank you. I think these are the apt and appropriate recommendations, and they certainly will have my support.
Thank you, Dr. Jameson. Vice Chair Cherry?
Yes, so thank you all to my colleagues for your comments and questions. And again, just echoing, yes, you will get my support on this today or tonight. Just echoing what our superintendent always says, that this is a people business. But when I look at people, I don't just look at the students or the staff, it's kind of trickles down. This whole thing affects the staff, the student, the parents, the families. So please do not think we just come in here tonight and just voting aye or nay. A whole lot of process goes behind the scenes, one by one, position by position. We have stayed late nights, multiple conversations all day, maneuvering through our own personal work schedules to make sure that we make the most well-aware and informed decision. So just wanted to make sure that, the community does know there's a whole lot that goes behind this process. And again, thank you, because I know you and your team have been at it as well, punching the numbers and trying to see what works best for our division and our students and our staff. And again, just making sure that we preserve as much as we can during this time. So just really want to echo all my colleagues again. Thank you. This is not easy, but it is time to make the hard decisions. So thank you all so much.
Thank you very much. I do want to just again note that, that we had the personnel and now programmatic, but there's still one step left before we adopt this budget, which comes in June. Can you remind me when we did have to delay that in the past due to the state projections? What did that look like, for a final line item adoption of our budget?
So we have had years where we have asked you to make your work session at the end of June a special meeting so that we could bring you the budget for approval at that point when the state has been particularly late in completing a budget. So I think what I would say is if we get a little further in the next couple of weeks, if we're hearing, okay, we're going to have a budget and the turnaround would just not be doable to get whatever information might be available into a final budget that's based on that final state budget by the June meeting, that we would go ahead and ask you, let's take care of it one time, let's push it back and approve it at the end of June. If in the next couple of weeks we still are hearing nothing, I think my inclination would be to go ahead and move forward with the information we have and bring you the budget at that June meeting, the normal June meeting, which I believe is the 9th, and then we would just have to amend it soon into the new year based on whatever information finally is approved by the General Assembly and the governor.
Got it, because I do know that our workshop is on the 23rd, and I believe the 23rd is the day they come back together. So I think, Dr. Siebert, does that sound right? June 23rd.
The veto session was April 23rd, so the governor has until May 23rd to decide to sign or let other things go into code without action or veto bills. So that the May 23rd is action. The reason that's significant for the state budget is because there's a lot of state budget decisions depending what happens with some of the legislation. And so there's a number of bills that are currently unresolved that have funding associated with them. And so the budget conferees do not want to meet until they know how many dollars they have to confer about.
Got it. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're going to pause and say goodbye to our student reps who have to leave.
By policy, they have to leave at 9 p.m.
Yes, and it is 9 p.m., so.
And it's their
thank
last
you all
night.
very much. Congratulations. Thank you for everything. We'll see you at graduation.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Congrats. Thank you.
I thought we were married, right? You know, that's where I went, so. Really? Yes, I sure am, so, a long time ago, but I won't admit how long. Congratulations, and we'll definitely see you on the stage at graduation. Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting my digital recognition.
Okay. All right. Did they get all of their?
All right, it's 9:01.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you all. Thank you very much, Mr. Wade, Mr. Lopez Ortiz.
So the governor has until May 25th.
May 23rd. May 23rd. And until some of those revenue-generating provisions are resolved, they won't know it's there. So there's obviously the resolution of the data center tax, but there's also like the cannabis legalization. All those things have revenues or expense associated with them that until those things are resolved, they won't know what kind of revenues to expect. And so that's where most of the budget conferees have not met. I did talk to a budget conferee late last week, and he said he expects that, you know, he's probably thinking we're looking at mid-June for a budget. He said that something could tip and move more rapidly, that there's apparently getting close to some sort of compromise on the data center piece, but until after the governor's timeline, there's probably not even going to be meetings of the budget conferees.
Got it. Okay, thank you for that update. I did want to make a couple notes as we come to this motion regarding programs. And everyone up here has done a really commendable job in the discussions, both here at our meetings, but also in the one-offs with community members, with staff, with parents, with people at the schools, with the administration. And you know, as you noted, the recommendations regarding programs accounts for about $3 million in the contraction of the budget, out of more than $10 million that we were trying to contract. So even if we get a state budget and it turns out that we only needed to contract our budget by 10 million total, programmatic reductions still only account for a small fraction of that, and the majority is still, the major bite in contracting the budget comes out of personnel. And so, you know, as we know what the budget realities are, I know there's been conversations about how would we build back in if there's more budget than the conservative budget that, say, we approve in June. And again, we would still have looked at how we're budgeting and how we're contracting the same way. Are we at standards of quality? Can we meet these needs through other mechanisms, things like that? And so to protect the classroom, we would look at building back through personnel first. And so I just wanted to note that the programmatic changes can only make so much difference in contracting the budget. The bulk is the people. And Ms. Watkins said it very, very well, but basically everyone here, everyone in the administration, everyone in this community has had to make compromises. Because we know that any contraction in one area, contracting in maintenance, that's going to have an impact on learning. but that may have saved, a position over here, or contracting on. So everything had a push and a pull, and everyone here had to try to decide what would have the least bad impact or continue to allow us to reach for our strategic plan on behalf of every student in our CPS, to know every student by name, by need, and by strength. And so, there's real concerns about class sizes, about early childhood literacy, about retention, about discipline with, administration numbers, with, what aids we are able to provide to support our teachers, and with what we can provide with regards to maintenance. And so, there has been a systematic approach to how we've approached the decisions regarding the contractions and how we'll build back. We really appreciate the engagement. Dr. Jameson pointed out that it hasn't been a dictatorship of this is how we're going to make the cuts, and it has been back and forth, and you haven't seen all the conversations that have happened here, but really trying to make sure that we're being careful with how we make long-term decisions that have long-term impact for the schools. And so we really appreciate all of that, and we recognize that the authority, bestowed upon us by City Council to make these kinds of programmatic decisions, we have a duty to all of our students. Right. And that's been taken very seriously, and we still have that line item budget that will be, the final adoption of this budget coming up in June, but thank you for all of that, and thank you for the leadership of this administration to help guide us through this process in a way where we can still keep the goals of our CPS in reach. So with all that said, is there a motion and a second to approve the programmatic changes and budget reductions for 2026, 2027 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Cherry, seconded by Ms. Watkins. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. The motion carries. The programmatic changes and budget reductions for 2026, 2027 are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the school board. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for your care, your concern, your heart. And thank you for your work and your leadership, your guidance. Thank you to our parents and to our staff members, and to particularly Mrs. Jackson and her team as well. So with that, Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. So on to the division financial perspective. Ms. Jackson, would you please present the financial forecast?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening again. So we're reporting to you this evening through the month of March. So I will jump right in. On the revenue side, so based on our experience through March, we are projecting overall revenues to be forecast about $5 million below budget based on our experience thus far. But as we discussed a little minute ago, we are also projecting that our expenditures will come in below budget. I did want to note that I did go ahead and factor in our projected cost for the bonus based on hopefully getting all the way up to the $1,500 bonus amount. So that is factored into that projection of being about $4.7 million below budget based on experience thus far and upcoming costs that we anticipate, namely that bonus. So based on that, through March, we are forecast to be comfortably below our appropriation amount, so no concern there. But of course, we do have to look at how much money we actually have when we're looking at expenditures. So as we noted, we're projecting to be about $5 million below budget on the revenue side, and only about $4.7 million below budget on the expenditure side. So were we to end the year based on that, we'd actually be about $300,000 over budget. So as we were just discussing, very, very close. So if the year continues to track in that manner, we might not quite be able to get up to that $1,500, but get very close. So we'll be watching that closely, and we are in the process now of asking our departments to kind of make final decisions and get purchase orders in for year end and that sort of thing, so that we can have the best information sooner rather than later to try to get us to that point without going over. Moving on to our food services fund, here also we are forecast to be a bit under budget on the revenue side, about $393,000 when we compare against that 3-year average of prior years through the month of March. But again, here also we are forecast to be better than budget on the expenditure side, almost $1 million. So here too, comfortably below that appropriation amount, so no concern there. We did adopt a budget in the food services fund to use a portion of fund balance on some operational and equipment needs, about $730,000. So were we to end the year based on our experience thus far, we would still use some fund balance, but quite a bit less, about $160,000 by year end. Based on that experience. And lastly, looking at that capital fund, which we just discussed a bit, we had just under $18 million appropriated for continuation of CIP projects that were approved. We used just under $10 million of that last year, so we've used about $750,000 so far this year, so we have $7.33 million remaining available in that fund for those ongoing projects, of course, the most substantial of which is Preston Park. So that is what I have for you today as of March, and I'm happy to take questions.
Does anyone from the board have any questions or comments for Ms. Jackson?
No questions.
All right, thank you very much. And Ms. Jackson, regarding the financial statements, is there anything unusual to report with the financial statements?
I'm happy to take questions if you have any about the details there. The only thing I'll note is that every quarter we do add some information. We add details of expenditures, our purchasing data, and so as this is reporting through March, I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that there is that additional information that we add every quarter. So I just commend that to you for your information of our procurements for the last quarter.
All right, well, thank you very much. The statements will be received and filed.
Thank you.
Okay, on to committee reports and ongoing business. So first up there, yeah, it's just this little title. Okay. Yeah, I've got it, we got it.
It's like, wait a minute.
Yes, and the first item there with regards to ongoing business is a third amendment to the superintendent's employment agreement. So, as a result of the board's prior action at its meeting on March 24th, 2026, to adopt an ordinance authorizing a reduction in force and a 5-day furlough of certain administrative staff, including the superintendent, during the 2026-2027 school year, the superintendent's contract must be amended to provide for the reduction in salary. Amendment of a superintendent's contract requires that all members of the school board be notified at least 30 days in advance of any meeting at which a vote is planned on the amendment, unless the members agree unanimously to take the vote without the 30 days notice. Is there a motion and a second for the board to take a vote on amendment of the superintendent's contract without the 30 days notice?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Watkins, seconded by Dr. Jamison. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Madam Chair, I do want to make a statement on the leadership of our superintendent, leading by example. You don't hear this often, so I wanted to say thank you because we're not just dishing it out, but we're also experiencing it ourselves in real time. That's leadership, and I just wanted to tell you thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cherry. With that said, this requires a roll call vote. Ms. Tresky, please call the roll.
Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Mr. Link?
Yes.
Dr. Jamison?
Yes.
Ms. Quintana?
Yes.
Ms. Trigg?
Yes.
Mrs. Watkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Apel?
Yes. The motion carries. Therefore, is there a motion and a second to amend the superintendent's contract dated March 20th, 2026, to allow for a reduction in her salary for the 5-day period during the 2026-2027 during 2026-2027, that she will be on furlough, as further stated in Amendment Number 3, a copy of which is made part of this agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Cherry, seconded by Dr. Jamison. Is there any further discussion? This requires a roll call vote. Ms. Treske, please call the roll.
Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Mr. Link?
Yes.
Dr. Jamison?
Yes.
Ms. Quintana?
Yes.
Ms. Trigg?
Yes.
Mrs. Watkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Apel?
Yes. The motion carries. Amendment Number 3 to the superintendent's contract is hereby approved, authorizing the salary reduction for the 5-day furlough period during the 2026-2027 school year. And thank you again, Dr. White, for your leadership through all of this.
We are one.
Yes, ma'am. On to reports from committees. Does anyone have any reports to give from committee meetings that you have attended?
I do, Madam Chair.
Okay, it looks like we actually have a bunch, so let's just, I think I saw almost everyone had a finger, so we'll just start with Ms. Trigg.
All right, I have the Curriculum Committee meeting minutes. The Division Curriculum Committee met virtually on April 15, 2026, with the members receiving updates across several key areas. Dr. Williams shared progress on summer programming, including planning and anticipated participation. Dr. Schultz provided an overview of upcoming SOL testing, highlighting a proposed 2-day testing option for grades 3 through 5 in reading and math to help reduce student fatigue, as well as an all-hands-on-deck volunteer effort to support testing logistics. Dr. Durham updated the group on textbook adoption for elementary math and secondary social studies as she presented tonight, and also led discussion on proposed revisions to the kindergarten report card to improve clarity and alignment with instructional goals. Additional updates included plans for kindergarten screening and registration with attention to timelines and outreach. The committee also discussed broader considerations around student screen time, reflection on the importance of balance and student well-being.
Thank you, Ms. Trigg. Ms. Watkins?
I'll report on the Student Wellness Subcommittee. On April 23rd, we met as the School Wellness Subcommittee and started by attending the Flavor Fest at William Fleming, which was great, by the way. It was fantastic. It was a great way for students to try new foods and give feedback. And we continue to see strong engagement from events like that, and I'm glad that we do them. We also talked about, in our meeting, we also talked about access, especially around community eligibility and making sure students and families can easily connect to Medicaid and SNAP supports, potentially through the Community Empowerment Center. So that's just another great way that the Empowerment Center supports our entire community. Over the summer, RCPS will operate Sun Meals for Virginia through the Summer Food Service Program, where any child 18 and under can receive breakfast and lunch on site at no cost. And if eligible families may also receive Sun Bucks, which provides $120 per eligible child to help with groceries during the summer months. But just to clarify, the Sun Bucks are not for every family. Children who already receive SNAP, TANF, Medicaid, and are in foster care or identified as unhomed will be automatically eligible. Other families who believe that they may qualify can apply online through the Virginia Department of Social Services, and they can do that beginning in June. And then finally, one other really great thing to note is at the beginning of, I think, last school year, Vice Mayor McGuire and I had coffee at Starbucks, and we talked about the share carts that were widely used before COVID, where we were trying to eliminate waste. Well, we worked with the division leadership, and there's now 26 share carts across schools, so they're back. They're widely used, they help cut down on waste, and they also make sure students who are still hungry can get additional food. It's a really positive and productive meeting we had, and I was really glad to hear that this is just one of the ways that we do collaborate, right? So it was really great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Watkins. Ms. Quintana? Oh, you didn't have, no, okay. No other community reports. Mr. Link, did you have any? Dr. Jameson?
Very quickly, just that the Roanoke Valley Governor's School hosted their graduation. It wasn't a meeting, but they had a wonderful event. Most of their graduates are going to Virginia Tech, UVA, and William & Mary, but they had a wide variety of graduates represented, and it was a very nice affair, as it usually is. So it was, and they say very funny things. That's all.
Thank you, Dr. Jameson. Vice Chair Cherry?
Yes, the Superintendent's Community Engagement Committee held its quarterly meeting on April 22nd, 2026. During the meeting, the committee reviewed the division's community engagement efforts and explored ways to expand and deepen our involvement with all varieties of stakeholders. And if you all remember in our retreat, we had that activity where we listed our stakeholders and how we can get more involved in partnering with them. So the committee discussed the need to further engage with partners in the real estate industry, faith-based entities, and others who have expressed interest in supporting Roanoke City Public Schools. Also, the committee is working to celebrate partnerships through social media and potentially more formally during an in-person State of the Schools event. If the board has any engagement-related questions, recommendations, or creative ideas to share with the Community Engagement Committee, please let us know. So definitely thankful for Corey Alder, who's doing a wonderful job with our Community Engagement Committee and with the CEC, the Community Empowerment Center, thanks to the vision of our superintendent. So that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Cherry. With regards to the Superintendent's Policy, Governance, and Legislative Priorities Committee report, this committee met on April 15th to receive an update on outcomes of the 2026 General Assembly and to review spring updates to policies and regulations, both of which were presented to the full board during the April 28th board workshop. The policy revisions were adopted on second review earlier this evening, and Dr. Siebert shared the board's General Assembly advocacy outcomes with City Council Legislative Committee on May 4th. The committee also discussed recommending a legislative position for VSBA's consideration for the purpose of pursuing funding for virtual student health services statewide. You know, another carryover of our, student voice and other voices. And please expect an update on this effort at the May 26, 2026 school board workshop. Lastly, the committee reminds the board that the VSBA's summer policy update, which primarily implements legislative changes from the General Assembly, is underway. If you have questions, considerations, or recommendations for the PG&L committee, please let us know. I think that's all the committee reports. So is there any ongoing business that needs to be discussed? It is a lot. So as we look to reminders, there are several events that are listed on We've got retirement dinner, Avid graduation, which that will be very exciting. The CTE extravaganza, holiday and board workshop, and CTE signing day. There's a ton of things coming up, not least of which is graduations. So with that said, thank you for attending our May meeting.